Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really hope we're going to have a smooth program tonight. These webinars are always a little tricky. I was not able to upload my slides, so we're going to be doing it with a screen share, and hopefully we are good to go. This is a topic that many people are interested in. We have over 1,000 people registered for this event. So if you have a question anytime, you can enable the chat there. So I will type in, "Hi everyone" here. So all the chats are private. Otherwise, it's just too hard um, to deal with. So let's get back to this presentation. Okay. So the topic here is the keto diet, how to do it right. Now, I've got to preface this by saying I do not follow the keto diet. I did it for a couple of weeks just to see what I experienced, and I have some of my own thoughts here, but I know a lot of people are interested in it, and everybody wants to know how to do it right, so we're going to talk about that. So if we look at the keto diet, and let's see, I hope this slide advanced. Let me put it on there. Yeah, maybe that's where. Let's see, I'm going to look over here. Maybe my slide presentation. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I just want to make sure that we're on the same. Okay, good. Good. We're good here. Let's see. Yeah. So the growth and popularity of the keto diet has been pretty amazing, and this popularity is really evident when you look at the Google search. It's growing and continues to grow. The keto diet refers to a very low carbohydrate diet, less than 50 grams of carbohydrate a day, and it's a very high fat diet, and fairly low protein. The problem with too much protein is the protein can be converted, some of the amino acids could be converted to glucose, and you're not going to get the ketogenic effect. Why are people on the keto diet? Well, the big reason is people are trying to lose weight. That's the key reason. The problem with the keto diet for a lot of people is that it's really disruptive to digestive function, and that can lead to gas, bloating, and a change in bowel movements. Low carbohydrate diets may not be suitable for long-term health. I don't think they are. I think you can use keto diet short-term and achieve some benefits, but I think we put our health in peril anytime we stop eating high fiber, nutrient dense plant foods. So those are pretty much excluded. Although if you look at this keto diet pyramid, we see that at the top here they do have some fruits and vegetables. So keto doesn't mean avoiding these foods entirely. It's just that your intake is severely restricted. So I said that I don't think it's healthy for the long term. Why not? Well, if we look at the mortality of different diets, we see that as dietary intake increases, this is a low carb, mortality decreases, and then if we increase in the intake to a higher percentage of carbohydrates, we start seeing a reduced level of benefits. We start seeing an increase in mortality. So this hazard ratio, that's looking at the risk of dying early. So low carbohydrate diets, long term, I just, the data doesn't support it. The data shows that long term, it's not a good health promoting diet. So just keep that in mind. If we look at what's healthy in the medical literature, what's held up is the traditional healthy Mediterranean diet pyramid. Now, I've made some modifications. So the Dr. Michael Murray modification of the traditional healthy diet pyramid is I get rid of the bread, rice, pasta, grains. These are carbohydrates that I think for most people, we're just not burning enough calories to justify eating a lot of these foods. So very small quantities, if at all. I pretty much cut out these carbohydrates from my diet when I turned 50, over 11 years ago. I just found that I wanted to put my focus on more nutrient dense foods. I also got, look here, I get rid of the sweets. So this is what the typical Mediterranean diet looks like. This is what I think is a really healthy diet. Different from the keto. We're going to talk about keto. I'm going to get back to that, but I'm just imparting some of my dietary philosophies here. Now, we can do the same thing with the traditional Asian diet. Again, I'm getting rid of the rice, noodles, bread, and other grains. I'm getting rid of the sweets. So this is where I think our diet really should be focused on. Lots of these plant foods. So that's my dietary philosophy and dietary practice. I also like this new Nordic diet pyramid. This was put together by a team of nutritionists, medical doctors, researchers, chefs in the Nordic countries to try and help them curb their epidemic of type 2 diabetes and obesity. And again, it's a very plant-based diet with focus on low glycemic fruits and vegetables, and grains are featured, but not at the base, a little further up, whole grains, and then we get good high quality proteins. All right, so getting back to the keto basics, I think if you want to eat healthy with keto, I would recommend predominantly focusing on plant foods. And even though protein from meat, eggs, and cheese in the typical keto diet constitutes a very good percentage, I'm going to encourage you to get those from plant foods and not overconsume meat, eggs, and cheese. And I'm going to get into some reasons why that is my recommendation. It basically has to do with the types of fats in those foods and the influence of those fats on the microbiome. Okay, so what are the good high-fat foods? Well, everybody knows what the good high-fat foods are. The monounsaturated fats we get from nuts, seeds, olive oil, macadamia nut oil, avocado oil, avocados, the medium chain triglycerides we get from coconut oil, and the long chain omega-3 fatty acids that we get from fish and fish oil supplements. Those are the good high-fat foods. So again, if we look at the keto basics, I think just as in a typical diet pyramid, your individual food choices constitutes the health promoting effects of that diet. So you want to eat good foods within that pyramid. And since 80% of your, 70 to 80% of your calories is coming from fat, you want to make sure that it's coming from good sources of fat. So I've shared with you what my opinion is on what are good sources of fat. Here they are again. The keto diet has been in the research a lot. We know that there are some common symptoms that people experience, particularly in the early stages: fatigue, low mood, they may be irritable. It tends to be constipating. They may get what's called the keto flu and could be a little bit foggy in the head. They may experience reduced strength and physical performance as they transition. And I think long term there are some risks, particularly the risk of osteoporosis, because it's very It's an acidic diet, and you're not getting the fiber, and you're not getting those important enough of those important plant compounds that help with osteoporosis. So, what are some of the complications that you get with the keto diet? Well, I've talked about a few of them: brain fog, mineral and electrolyte imbalances, joint issues, digestive distress, irregularity, and impaired performance. So we're going to talk about how to overcome some of those and really gain some of the nutritional benefits from the keto diet. Remember that you're consuming a lot of fat in this diet. In a keto diet, you may be consuming 10 times the amount of fat on a traditional diet. And this thought with the keto diet is by increasing the fat consumption, we're going to be breaking down stored glycogen, and that will be then converting stored fat into ketones that can keep our brain functioning well. And that does happen to a degree, but it's really important to keep that carbohydrate load below 50 grams per day. The keto diet was developed medically primarily to help in epilepsy, and it does have some benefit in that situation. So a lot of the digestive complaints with the keto diet is due to the high fat content, but also undigested protein can be an issue. When we don't break down protein into individual amino acids, it can lead to the putrefaction of that protein by gut bacteria and yeast, and that can lead to the formation of gas promoting and inflammatory promoting compounds. Proteases are natural enzymes that break down proteins into those amino acids, and we can supplement with proteases to help break down those proteins and help prevent some of those problems. Like I said, there's a lot of fat in the diet, and so we really need to first focus on lipase. I'll talk about lipase in just a minute, but I want to introduce the importance of protease in the keto diet, and I'm going to be introducing a product from Enzymedica called Digest Keto, and this formula contains lipase to digest the fat, and also proteases to break down the proteins. And we mix these different variants of proteases so we have complete digestion of that protein throughout the entire pH range. We blend different variants of these enzymes that have activity at different pH levels. That's because in our stomach, the pH ranges from 1 to 4. In the small intestine, it becomes a little bit more basic, and then in the colon, it's relatively neutral. So we want to make sure that protein is digested as fast and as completely as absolutely possible. So we utilize this TheraBlend protease mix, and this protease mix can be very helpful in breaking down that protein so that it doesn't produce that inflammation, gas forming compounds, and inflammatory forming compounds. So this is showing the percentage of discomfort causing peptides with the keto TheraBlend versus competitive blends of proteases, and you get 99% of the peptides responsible for the gastrointestinal discomfort broken down with the keto TheraBlend protease mix. So that's much better than you'd see with the other products out there. And this is true, this benefit of the TheraBlend for other enzyme types and other Enzymedica formulas. The keto diet is putting stress on our bowel function, and this often leads to constipation. So in this Keto Digest formula that we developed, we include a clinically proven form of probiotic that helps promote regularity. It's a proprietary strain of Bacillus subtilis, and it's been shown to be very beneficial in not only promoting regularity, but the formation of a properly formed stool. So the formula Digest Keto contains the lipase to digest the fat that's being consumed, the proteases to help with the protein, and then the Bacillus subtilis to promote a healthy bowel function. So each 2 capsule servings breaks down and optimizes up to 20 grams of protein and 44 grams of fat. This slide is showing you what that translates to. Translates to what's typically consumed in a lot of keto meals, eggs and avocados for example, for breakfast, or maybe some sort of meat or high concentration of protein along with a high amount of fat in the evening meal. So we see that we're able to digest the typical keto meal entirely with Digest Keto 2 capsules with every meal. You can kind of titrate the dosage based upon the size of the meal. If it's more than 20 grams of protein and 44 grams of fat, and you're not getting much support on your own, you may need to increase the dose. But for most people, 1 or 2 capsules with the meal will help them eliminate their discomfort produced by eating a high intake of fat and protein. I said earlier that I would really like to see people eat more plant foods versus animal foods for the keto diet. And if you look at this slide, I'll explain what it means. This is a study from Cell Metabolism, and basically they fed mice lard, and that leads to certain changes in their gut bacteria, produces leaky gut and lots of inflammation, and the mice became fat and developed diabetes. When they gave the mice not lard but fish oil, it led to beneficial changes in their microbiome, and that was associated with increased insulin sensitivity, proper body weight, and no diabetes and no inflammation. When they took the bacteria out of the mice that was fed the fish oil and they gave it to the inserted in the intestine of the mouse given the lard, it partially protected against the lard diet. So yeah, we can partially protect that through fecal transplant, but you don't need to. You just need to eat the right types of fat if you're going to follow a keto diet, in my opinion. I want to talk about this bacteria here that was shown to be increased with a fish oil diet. It's called Akkermansia muciniphila, and this is a true probiotic superstar. It's critical to the health of the mucin layer that protects the intestinal lining, and it prevents the leaky gut syndrome. Higher levels of Akkermansia muciniphila are associated with lower rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, inflammation, liver disorders, and the metabolic syndrome. Interestingly enough, the heat-killed form is more effective than the live, and that's because it contains a protein. The organism contains a protein, and when you heat kill it, the exoskeleton is discarded, and that there's more of that protein available to exert its benefits. Its benefits are that it stimulates the formation of the intestinal mucus. So let me explain this illustration because it's really fascinating. So what the researchers looked at was the level of, we know that in obesity, right here, that the mucus lining is very thin. It's thin because there's not enough Akkermansia muciniphila. That bacteria is given that name, mucinophilia. That means love of mucin. It loves mucin. It helps the intestinal cell produce a thicker lining of mucus. So in this healthy person, lots of Akkermansia mucinophilia. It's producing the mucin. It's helping the cells produce the mucin. It's producing compounds that keep the tight junction firm and doesn't affect this cell called the M cell. When this Akkermansia mucinophilia is not growing properly, then what happens is that the mucus thins and we get what's called a leaky gut, and we start absorbing gut toxins. That leads to infiltration of fat in the liver, inflammation, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. So raising Akkermansia mucinophilia is a key goal. How do we do that? Well, we don't need to take it as a supplement. It's not available as a supplement anyway, but there's some natural ways that you can increase Akkermansia mucinophilia. Why is this important? If you are on a ketogenic diet, you need to pay attention to what I'm telling you, because if you don't, I think your gut health will suffer. And I'm starting to hear and talk to people who've been following this keto diet for a while, and then they start developing increased issues with their digestive tract. And I think it's because of the kind of the microbiome changes. So that some of the things that we can use to enhance the growth of Akkermansia mucinophilia, digestive enzymes. So that digest keto is key. Fish oils. I'm going to tell you about the aquabiome from Enzymedica and how that helps promote Akkermansia mucinophilia. Prebiotic fibers. If you're going to be on a ketogenic diet, you want to maximize your intake of carbohydrates by choosing those that are going to feed a healthy microbiome, including those that promote the growth of Akkermansia mucinophilia. So we're going to talk about that. If you're having particular problems with irritable bowel syndrome type issues and you're on that ketogenic diet, you may also want to consider using berberine, 500 milligrams 3 times a day before meals. Now, most of the time when I'm talking about enhancing the growth of Akkermansia mucinophilia, I talk about using flavonoids and polyphenol-rich foods and beverages. Well, if you're not going to be eating those foods, and I think it becomes very important for you to supplement with flavonoid-rich extracts, things like grapeseed extract or pine bark extract are great choices. Other berry extracts, cranberry, blueberries, bilberry, they can be used as well. So let's talk a little bit about digestive enzymes in the microbiome. When most people think about influencing the microbiome, they think, oh, I need to take probiotics. Well, I think that as we start understanding the importance of the terrain in promoting a healthy microbiome, it's going to lead to an increased understanding on the importance of digestive enzymes, because digestive enzymes are critical agents in creating the optimal terrain to grow the health-promoting organisms like Akkermansia mucinophilia and all the others that aren't available as a probiotic. There are over 1,000 different strains and species of organisms in our intestinal microbiome, total over 100 trillion cells. So, just a few different strains and species of probiotics isn't going to really change the overall flora of the microbiome as much as changing the terrain. That's what the research is pointing to. We know that even in mild enzyme insufficiency, we see altered microbiome composition. And in pancreatic insufficiency, we see that people improve when their microbiome changes. And so enzyme therapy results in changes in the microbiome, and that's what's associated with improvements in their symptoms. The shift in beneficial organisms include Akkermansia, muciniphila, and beneficial lactobacilli. So these organisms aren't supplemented in people that have pancreatic enzyme insufficiency, but when these people take enzymes, it actually increases the level of these extremely beneficial organisms. Enzymes are also critical in clearing biofilm. Biofilm is a real problem in small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is the main cause of the irritable bowel syndrome, which is one of the key reasons why many people suffer chronic gas, bloating, and indigestion. Okay, so we want to take enzymes. We also want to take omega-3 fatty acids. Why? Well, it turns out that the level of omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA and DPA, are critical in determining the diversity of our microbiome and the level of this Akkermansia muciniphila. We know that omega-3 fatty acids lower the level, supplementation will lower the level of the bad guys in our microbiome while raising the level of Akkermansia muciniphila, just what we want. We also know that the omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation, and they can help improve intestinal immunity and intestinal wall integrity, and of course they also influence the gut-brain axis. So omega-3 fatty acids are very important in the person that is on a ketogenic diet, and I know that they may be eating a lot of fish, but I would still supplement with these long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. And I've given a whole webinar on my own on the benefits of fish oil and introduced the aqua biome. Let me give you a brief introduction. What we wanted to do at Enzymedica is produce the purest fish oils on the planet. And so we had to look at all the ways you can manufacture fish oils. And we chose to utilize an advanced technology. Most fish oils are being produced through technology that was invented over 70 years ago. And it's just not as sophisticated in eliminating the toxic compounds as well as concentrating the beneficial compounds. So the aqua biome is the purest fish oil on the planet. It's the first fish oil that has been a certified clean label project. So it has gone through rigorous testing to make sure that it meets all the criteria of being a clean label project verified product. We utilize this targeted molecular enrichment technology to concentrate the beneficial omega-3 fatty acids. And it's a little bit different than molecular distillation, which is one of the more common forms. Molecular distillation and other techniques just separate molecules out by weight. This process actually separates the molecules out not only by weight, but also by their polarity or charge. And this allows us to more effectively separate out the beneficial oils from the toxins. It also allows us to maintain DPA levels. DPA is kind of the forgotten omega-3 fatty acid. It's critical, has some good health benefits, but most commercially available fish oils do not state the level of DPA on their product because in their manufacturing process, they can't guarantee consistent levels of DPA, and their manufacturing process is at the detriment of providing meaningful levels of DPA. Why is that all important? Is because we want to promote the healthy microbiome and intestinal environment, that terrain, and these omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA and DPA, are critical for that to happen. The aqua biome fish oils have a different ratio. The ratio that is used is 4 parts DHA, 2 parts EPA, and 1 part DPA. The aqua biome is the only fish oil on the market that has this ratio. We chose this ratio because this is the ratio that appears to have the best influence on the intestinal environment, on the microbiome, and it's also the best for reducing inflammation. What's interesting is, in looking at the research and coming up with this ratio, later I discovered that this is the exact ratio that is found in wild Alaskan salmon, particularly sockeye salmon. So it's something that nature provides in that natural state. So I mentioned DPA. We call it the missing omega-3 fatty acid. Lots of great research on DPA. It's emerging. Without question, it's critical to the overall benefits of fish oils. It's able to be converted to both EPA and DHA. The chain should be the EPA gets converted to DPA. That's kind of the storage depot for EPA. And then if the body needs it to go to DHA, it's converted to DHA. But DHA can never be retro-converted back to DPA. So as the body needs EPA and DHA, it converts DPA. DPA was the only omega-3 fatty acid that has been shown in population-based studies as a preventer against heart disease. Tissue levels of DPA were more important in determining the risk of heart disease than either EPA or DHA. DPA is also more effective in reducing C-reactive protein and other markers of inflammation than either EPA or DHA. And DPA is responsible for some of the metabolizing enhancing effects of fish oil. It activates genes that burn fat. We know DPA is important because it comprises 40% of mother's milk, so as far as the omega-3 fatty acid content goes. So it plays a huge role in development. It's been shown to improve sleep in newborns. We offer plain fish oil using this aquabiome process in a classic strength and a maximum strength. So depending on how much salmon and other rich sources of omega-3 fatty acids a person is eating on a ketogenic diet would kind of indicate which of these formulas to use. I wouldn't use these though. I like, for the keto diet, I like this formula. It's the aquabiome fish oil, but it's combined with Boswellia phytosome. Phytosomes are forms of botanical medicine where the active components are bound to phosphatidylcholine or lecithin from sunflower, and this allows for better absorption. And good data shows that Boswellia extracts can be very helpful in soothing the intestinal lining. So given the stress that someone is exerting on their intestinal lining by eating a ketogenic diet, I recommend using this formula, the fish oil for the aquabiome fish oil plus digestive relief. So 2 capsules a day if you're eating enough. If you're having at least 2 to 3 servings of salmon or other rich source of omega-3 fatty acids a week. If you're not eating any fish, then I would take 4, because you need if you're giving your body that stress of the type of fats, the levels that you're getting with a ketogenic diet, you've got to make sure you're getting enough of those omega-3 fatty acids. So 2 a day. If you get 2 to 3 servings of salmon or other rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, sardines, anchovies, mackerel, herring, those are all great sources. But if you're not, then 4 capsules a day. Here's a study that was done with Boswellia extract, very helpful in keeping the intestinal lining very calm, even in people who had ulcerative colitis. We have other forms of the aquabiome for different indications. We have the quercetin phytosome, and this is for sports performance, and there's data showing that quercetin not only helps with after exercise muscle soreness, but it can actually improve performance in triathletes. So it's useful because it reduces the inflammation caused by exercise, and by reducing some of those inflammatory aspects, you actually improve performance. We have another version of the aquabiome. It's with Mariva, which is the most clinically studied form of curcumin. This advanced form of curcumin has shown great effects in improving in inflammatory situations, particularly those involving the joints, but also the brain. So you'll see that we say it's providing the benefits to to joint health and brain function. So that would be an indication. There's overlap. If you don't have many digestive issues, which is rare, and you're following a ketogenic diet, then maybe you can use the classic or the maximum strength. If you're dealing with some joint issues, which is common with the ketogenic diet, then maybe use the fish oil plus Mariva. So I also want to talk a little bit about your choices of carbohydrates when you're on the ketogenic diet. You want to make wise choices, and there are certain fermentable forms of fibers that are very nourishing to the microbiome and the growth of Akkermansia muciniphila. And so I've got these up here. And in the ketogenic diet, you're probably going to be focused most on the vegetables, right? The vegetables. But I would try to have some fruit, particularly berries, on a regular basis, just to kind of nourish that terrain a bit to allow the growth of Akkermansia muciniphila. I also recommend having a variety of different foods, not eating the same sort of carbohydrates every day. This becomes really important when you're on a ketogenic diet. Why? Well, here's what we know about the microbiome. Diversity is critical. We want to have a rich growth of bacteria, but we want to have a wide range of different species and strains of bacteria. It's kind of like an Amazonian forest. We want it to be flourishing. So the diversity of your microbiome is directly proportional to the diversity of your diet. If you're eating the same foods, and many people on a ketogenic diet have an even narrower intake of food in terms of variety, you've got to maximize your variety in your choices of vegetables in particular. So green leafy vegetables, low calorie, low carbohydrates, but very rich and nourishing to the microbiome and particularly Akkermansia muciniphila. I have some of them here. The cruciferous vegetables in particular, kale I could have up here as well. Artichokes, very helpful. Okra, mushrooms, allium species, garlic, onions, shallots. These are very helpful. And again, the berries, particularly blackberries, boysenberries, cherries. I know on a ketogenic diet you're keeping those low, but try to have some of those in your diet on a regular basis. Variety is the key, so mix it up. Liberal use of spices is something else I recommend when you're on a ketogenic diet. So make good use of all the spices: cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, nutmeg, cardamom. Herbs as well, all the mint family, oregano, thyme, rosemary, peppermint. Drink herbal teas. Try to nourish that microbiome as much as you can. And I know you're restricting your carbohydrate intake, so you have to focus on spices, herbs, green leafy vegetables, and cabbage family vegetables, allium species, and occasional berries. I also think it's important to take a prebiotic drink mix. This is the one I recommend. It's the one I formulated for Enzymedica. It has only 6 grams of carbohydrate per 1 tablespoon, and this is a phenomenal product. It's really it's really interesting. It it features a superfood blend that has been used in Japan for over 70 years. It's called the Otaka Superfood Blend, and you can see all the different components of it. Again, what's key? Variety. So this formula is providing great variety. Only 6 grams of carbohydrate. Boy, I really think it's critical for people that are on a ketogenic diet to take this sort of formula. And you'll notice the fiber sources are a little bit different. These are fermentable fibers, but they are generally tolerated even in SIBO. So tapioca fiber, gum acacia, galacto oligosaccharides, the isomalto oligosaccharides, and the fermented barley grass are all very nurturing to the health of that microbiome. Great variety with those fibers combined with that Otaka formula. Again, you can see that there's over 50 different superfood blends in there. Just a great way to get great variety. Just to summarize, here are the key things. We want to focus on healthy fats. We want to get 50 grams of carbohydrates from nutrient-dense sources. And we want to utilize the following products from Enzymedica: the Digest Keto, the prebiotics, and the Aquabiome. What I'd like to do now, I'm going to go to the chat room and see what all questions that we have in there. I'm going to start with Charlene's question, and she's asking, is it your professional opinion that most healthy or at least symptom-free individuals will benefit from supplementing with digestive enzymes on a regular basis regardless of their diet? Do you personally regularly take digestive enzymes? You don't obviously have to answer that. Yes, I'm curious. Thank you. Okay, let's do I think a healthy individual would benefit from supplementing with digestive enzymes? I think most healthy individuals can benefit. Definitely anyone having digestive issues, gas, bloating, indigestion, heartburn, occasional diarrhea, any digestive complaint, I really think it's important to support digestive function. One of the best ways and essential ways of doing that is by taking digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes, they are safe. They work by helping us break down food. If we don't break down food properly, it creates a lot of problems in our system. And I really think that when people go on the keto diet, I think they, in particular, will really benefit from taking the Digest Keto. If someone is really healthy and they're on the keto diet, they may only need to take 1 capsule with meals. But if they have any sort of digestive change or issue, they're probably going to really like taking 2. Many people are very uncomfortable when they switch over to keto, and not only are they uncomfortable, the people around them are uncomfortable because of the flatulence and the kind of foul smell of it. So I really think it's important for people in general, but especially on this keto diet. That's why we came out with this Digest Keto. Charlene's also asking about digestive bitters. I think digestive bitters can be effective, but not to the same degree. I look at things like apple cider vinegar or digestive bitters as being very gentle aids. They don't produce the same benefits in relieving gas, bloating, indigestion, or helping us digest food. And most critically, I really think that people could be setting themselves up for poor health eating a ketogenic diet long term. I know that's probably not a popular position, but that's what the literature shows. I showed you that mortality slide. I think the reason why the low carbohydrate diets don't promote longevity is because of the negative changes they produce on the microbiome. So we want to protect against those negative changes, and I think digestive enzymes can go a long way in protecting against that. I also think that we want to take advantage of feeding that microbiome, even though the diet is kind of working against us. I think we can compensate for that by using a good prebiotic formula, particularly, again, the prebiotic formula that I developed for Enzymedica. It has that Otaka superfood blend, great diversity. That's going to have a really nice effect on promoting diversity in the microbiome. And then lastly, I think the aquabiome is critical. I mentioned berberine earlier. I think for those people that continue to have digestive issues, even though they're utilizing these three, I would add the berberine to that, 500 milligrams before meals. But I would start off with this. I think for most people, the 80-20 rule, they're going to get 80% of people are going to get all the benefits they need by focusing on these three key supplements to their ketogenic diet. Okay, so let's move on to some other questions. Yes, you can get, people are asking, can you get a transcript? We'll give you a transcript or the slides themselves, a PDF of the slides themselves. We have a record of everyone who's has attended and viewed this webinar. And this webinar is recorded. You will get a link to it, and we encourage you to share that to friends and family that may be on a ketogenic diet. I think I would be concerned. I would be concerned if someone I cared about was on this diet, if they weren't armed with the right information to make sure that they're protecting themselves from some of the possible detrimental effects of eating such a diet. The diehard, keto folks, they're going to say this is the way to go. This is the way to eat. You got to eat keto for your whole life. You got to intermittently fast. You got to go on water fast. You got to do this, this, and this. It becomes like a religion and dogma. I look at things pragmatically, and from what I see, there are potential pitfalls with this diet long term. And I just don't think it's necessary to restrict these health promoting foods to the degree that people do. Do I think it's important to get rid of excess carbs? Yes, but I don't think there's any value of being in a ketogenic state for most people. And as far as weight loss goes, we've had great results in my program for diabetes and weight loss. And I don't promote a ketogenic diet. If people want to follow it, they can. But what I promote is the diet that I kind of promoted earlier, basically a Mediterranean diet or a New Nordic diet with elimination of the pasta, bread, rice, noodles, and other complex carbohydrates. And definitely get away from the simple sugars. Okay. Annalisa's asking, is if a person is not eating the keto diet way but has a meal that is higher in fat than normal, could the keto digest be taken, or should they stick with Enzymedica's Lipo Gold? Yeah, they're interchangeable. There are differences with the digest keto compared to the Lipo Gold in terms of the composition of the enzymes, and we also have that Bacillus subtilis in there to help with the regularity issues produced by a ketogenic diet. So, there's some overlap, but I mean, it's not a bad, we're coming up, I guess, to Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, you could use digest keto. There is, Lipo Gold, we kind of think it's just lipase, but there is some protease in there. Parvane, I don't know if I said that right, asks, can people with a fatty liver follow a keto diet? Yeah, it's actually being promoted for that. I think there's some pitfalls against that. Uh, what we really want to do in that fatty liver, I showed you that. I'm going to go back to that. Where's my slide? I was going to go back to I don't know the slide with the Akkermansia and mucinophilia. When you have that healthy layer of mucin, it protects against fatty infiltration of the liver. That's really one of the key things. Healing the gut. Hippocrates said it well. He said all disease begins in the gut. He also said all health begins in the gut. We're starting to understand that more and more, and helping people with fatty liver really involves helping them improve that intestinal barrier in preventing the absorption of compounds that can damage the liver. So um, ketogenic diet is being looked at in that, but it is that higher fat intake does produce some stress, and it does lead to changes that I don't like. I would follow the diet that I recommend, which is again primarily a Mediterranean diet without the carbs. As far as my personal diet, is probably more in line with a zone type diet, if we want to put a label on it. But it's very close to what I was showing you with the let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go up here. I got it. It's very close to what I was showing you here with the chart. I like to eat all different sorts of cuisines, but the same principles that I follow, I didn't realize it was so far up. The same principles I follow, doesn't matter whether I'm eating a Mediterranean diet or an Asian diet. This is how I construct my meals. This is what I focus on. These vegetables, and I have I do have a higher protein intake than the traditional Asian diet or traditional Mediterranean diet. But I get my protein from protein shakes. I typically have a protein shake for breakfast. If I don't, I have egg whites and 2 whole organic eggs. Um, then the rest of the day, I really focus on. I have a bowl of berries every day. I mix up my berries, and I'll mix up how I prepare them. Sometimes I'll have nuts in them. Sometimes I'll mix them in with Greek yogurt. Sometimes I'll mix them in with coconut milk or coconut cream. I have different ways of mixing them up. I've really focused. I'm getting off on a tangent because it's late at night, and I'm thinking about a lot of different things. But one thing I've really tried to do in the last couple of years is increase the variety of my diet because, as I said, that's really important. So, and I've found in doing so, especially when I'm traveling, I can create these fabulous healthy meals by creating dishes that I normally don't eat, especially because when I travel, I tend to like for breakfast. Typically, these restaurants have buffets, much healthier versions of a breakfast buffet in Asia and Europe than we have here in America usually. But my focus in these breakfast buffets is on the fruits and vegetables. And boy, follow me on Instagram and Facebook because I will post pictures of my plates. It's some of these meals. My key point: variety, variety, variety. Spice it up, herb it up. Eat some foods that maybe you don't usually eat. I don't usually eat cheese, but when I'm traveling, like I was in Europe last week, the cheese is really good. I don't eat a lot, but I really think that the cheeses are part of the healthy, contributing to a healthy microbiome. Because like I said, I'm a pragmatic person. So when I look at longevity, health, etc., proof is in the pudding, and we know that this Mediterranean diet is very proven in promoting longevity. And we start looking at the individual components, and we see that cheese and yogurt are very much a part of that. And I noticed, like in Sicily, yogurt wasn't such a big deal, but boy, they have a very high cheese consumption, and it's artisan cheeses, and the amounts are by our standards in America modest. They're not huge globs of cheese. They're, these are strong, and I think they're powerful sources of probiotic organisms. Anyway, I've really kind of stretched that. I let me get back to some other questions. Marilyn is asking, does this diet help with rheumatoid disease? Um, I think it could. In that situation, I would go completely vegetarian with the keto diet. I think it could. If you go to my website, drmurray.com, and just type in the search rheumatoid arthritis, Marilyn, you'll see what I recommend. And I highlight there have been studies where they've placed people with rheumatoid arthritis on a vegetarian diet with the exception of cold water fish, and that significantly reduces inflammation, and that's good because reduced inflammation means fewer symptoms. So that's what I would recommend. All right, let me see what else. Jim is asking, is the IMO or GOS in the prebiotic formula derived from corn? The answer is no, it's derived from tapioca. Some people have corn issues, and Jim's one of them. I think I answered all of the questions. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, let us know. If you didn't, let us know how we can make it better, because we want to do more of these and answer your questions. So please let us know. Thank you for your attention, and until next time, God bless.